Welcome back to Celtic State of Mind's SWPL Matchday coverage. It is full-time and Celtic are victorious once again. 11 games unbeaten, a hard-fought 1-0 victory over Hibernian. Now, we said before getting into this game, this is going to be the toughest of the last three games that Celtic had. And Russell, that second half was, we were holding on for quite a bit there.
We were, but I think we showed the traits and the characteristics that we're looking for in this team these days. I think they've got character in abundance. They throw their bodies on the line. I mean, there was one moment where both Hayes and Warrington were both nearly, decapitated by the ball, but it's because they're putting their head in the way to try and stop it. They're desperate to keep the ball out their net. They've got a real desire to keep clean sheets, to hold on for victories. And at the end of the day, the teams keep showing up. We keep knocking them down. That's it at the end of the day. I mean, they keep coming up with all the questions and we keep finding the answers. So kudos to them. It was a disappointing performance, if we're honest, in the second half. But the fact of the matter is, it's another clean sheet. It's another 3 points. The train goes on. And with 2 games to go, this side do not look like they just look like they've got the mentality required to do the minimal target now, which will be finished second. I think we've now went to a stage where with 2 games to go, third would now actually be a disappointment as opposed to first season full time will take third. It's now moved on from that. I think particularly in this run that they're on. I think they've got to keep believing and fair play to them.
Yeah, just going to bring up some of the comments. Gillian Gallagher, excellent, another 3 points. Michael the Boy coming in to say, a bit scrappy second half, but a good 3 points, ladies. And Daniel Mack, big Fran Alonso coming through like Johnny Depp and below. It's got to be said, the run that the women's team are on at the minute is outstanding. And Lawrence, as Russell was just saying there, the Champions League qualification is in Celtic's hands now. They win their next 2 games and next season they will be playing Champions League football. How much of an achievement is that for the women in their first season as a full-time team?
I think it's huge, coupled with the injuries we've had. Everybody, it wasn't that long ago they were talking about it as a 2-horse race, and we weren't one of the horses. We've got 2 games to go. We're playing 2 of the bottom 3. You couldn't ask for better. Relegation, Hearts are already relegated, so those bottom 2, the 2 we're playing really don't have anything to play for. Could you pick 2 better fixtures for your last two? And we're still in with a chance of winning it. I think we're talking off air. Russell said, Safeco are really got something to play for. Safeco win, City win, and Celtic win the next game. Get into the last game. Safeco have got to, hope that they beat City and that we slip up. So, it's a distinct possibility they can take points off City. Let's hope so.
Yeah. I think you're right, mate. I think if there is a possibility. Sorry, Colin, on you go.
No, on you go. Keep going.
I think that the worry of the rivalry between the Celtic and Rangers and stuff. I just think that right now Rangers have got to focus on themselves, and they're going to be having to play professionally on the basis that Celtic slip up on the final day, right? And what we've seen from the Celtic side in the past few weeks is, a side that I don't know. I think they'll still think that there's a mistake in us that we could, and that'll give them the confidence and the belief that if they were to get the result against City, there's still hope that they can then qualify for that Champions League spot because on the back of us perhaps slipping up the final day, and they've got to play like that. So it's very intriguing because if Celtic were to, do the hammering that I think we require in the next game against Forfar and take it to the wire, you could be looking at one of the most tense final days, of probably in the history of the Women's Premier League, I would imagine as well. Do you know what I mean? 3 teams is so much to play for at the top of the table. It's mouthwatering, it really is.
And the way you've got to look at it is, for years and years in the Women's League, it was always between Glasgow City and Hibs. They were the best 2 teams in Scotland by a country mile. And now you're at the level where Celtic, Rangers, both teams are competing with Hibs. They're beating Hibs. And it shows you that in a short space of time how far we have come on as a team. I'm just going to go through some of the other comments. This one here's from Strangelove the Doctor. Standouts with the entire back four. Special mention to the wee left back, a smashing wee player. I thought Warrington was outstanding in that position tonight, and she came up against a full back who was bombing forward at every opportunity. Hibs in that second half, they were closing down. We spoke at half time thinking that Hibs were starting to tire at the end of that second half. It really didn't look like that when they came out of the blocks, Ursula.
No, you're spot on. I think you're absolutely right to say that. I think Hibs surprised us all. They seemed re-energised. They must have had a good half-time team talk. They certainly looked to put us under the cosh from the whistle onwards. There was, of course, that goal-mouth scramble. I agree with the commenter, though. I thought Chloe Warrington, she's a heart-in-the-sleeve player, but she also does the simple things effectively. That's what my takeaway from Chloe Warrington was. When she needs to get her head up and pass it across the back four, she does so calmly and expertly, which at times when you're under the pressure and you're being closed down, it can be a bobbly pass you play, or it goes a wee bit astray. Hers are always nice, neat and tidy. She's got great composure and the heart of a lion. And yeah, she had an outstanding second half. But again, I thought Hayes at the back again in the second half really, really excelled. And, an outstanding, one of the many, which is a glaring difference as well if we're going to do the spot the difference stuff, one of the many leaders in that team. And there is a few.
Yeah, Lawrence, who was just talking about the two centre-halves there. We've got Jodie Bartle, who has been a standout for the whole season, alongside the goal scorer, Caitlin Hayes. And the two of them talked each other through the game. When one went up, one covered, and there was always a point where one of them was sitting back, and it allowed the game to flow, and you saw that coming into the midfield. I'll bring up a comment just here as well from Facebook user here who said, shaky at the end, but a great 3 points. Kelly Clark coming on and steadying the ship was great coaching. And I have to agree with that. When the sub came on, she came on for Nicholson in the second half. And I thought when Clark got the ball, she slowed the game down. She looked up, she found a pass, she moved on, she interlinked to everyone, and she was covering that back four as well. And I think at that point, Hibs were coming forward with ease. They were creating a couple of chances, and you're thinking it was almost inevitable that we might concede. But she comes on, kind of kills the game down a wee bit, gets us back under control, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons why we picked up the 3 points tonight.
Yeah, definitely. That's a true centre-half partnership, isn't it? One goes, one sweeps. It's keep it simple. You don't need this complicated stuff. And you've done it really well. But Chloe Warrington, only 19, 10 years at the club. Outstanding player. What a future she's got ahead of her. You can just see that's her position, isn't it? For years to come for us. She's really made it her own since she came into the team. Rachel on goals, a lot more assured, wasn't she? But yeah, I mean, I don't know about you boys, but I was really nervous, and Kelly Clark did calm it down a bit, because she said Hibs were just coming forward and getting chances, maybe from outside the box, but they're getting shots off, and at 1-0, it's a dangerous score, isn't it?
Yeah, you mentioned before the game about Rachel Johnson coming in and how she's kept so many clean sheets this season. I think, you said she's not conceded a goal this season, is that right?
I think so, mate. I think I was reading somewhere it was 5 out of 5 or something.
And she keeps another one tonight. Now, what I liked about her play was it was the sort of come and get the ball off me tactic, waiting to go down and pick the ball up. Come and get it. No, I've got that ball. That's mine. That kills the game. It allows the players to reset, to get that wee breath in of energy, to get them set up and set the formation up to go forward again. And that was outstanding tonight. And again, as you said, she's only 17 years old.
Listen, you heard Fran, we didn't hear it second half because there's no sound, but first half you heard them when that was happening. Fran said, get the lines, get the light. You could hear them shouting, when she's killing the game, she's telling the players, get the lines. And it's just brilliant. It's just a reset, back to the game plan, back to what we've been doing in the training pitch, play the triangles, work the ball, make the ball do the work. And it's Fran's definitely got a plan, hasn't he? But it's 2 big games to come. 4 for Farmington and Motherway. It's 6th of June. It could be a very, very happy day.
Russell, myself and Kevin were on the Bulletin earlier on talking about giving some youngsters a chance, but you look at that Celtic women's team, there's quite a few youngsters that are certainly making an impression. We spoke about Rachel Johnson, Chloe Warrington, and young Pollard who came on. She's only, is it 16?
17, signed up for
now.
Farmington. Yes, yeah. Scottish girl. But she gives us a different dimension up front, doesn't she? She's big, she can win the ball in the air, good at holding it in as well, but she's a bit more physical. Picked up a yellow card towards the end. Listen, it was well worth it, wasn't it? Killed a game as times running out. It's an old pro's trick, isn't it? And she's only 17. She's going like that, right? I'll just kill this. Give the free kick away, and we can set up, defend it.
When you look at it, Russell, it's experience beyond the years, and that shows that you're building a team there, not just for this season, but for the seasons going forward.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Colin. I think that's absolutely spot on. But I also think as well, Fran Alonso's whole demeanour just seems to me to be someone who makes people believe in themselves. And I don't think age comes into it with a guy like that. I think he'll have them feeling 10 foot tall before they go in the park and feeling like veterans, like Lawrence is talking about, when they're making, wizened old head sort of, deliberate professional fouls, if you want to call it that. I just think, there's a blend to the team, of course, of experience and youth. But I certainly don't think the youth are afraid to express themselves when they're on there. They're not afraid to play the game the way they want to do it. It's funny. You just feel like they're a unit that is all pulling in the same direction right now. And I thought it was really summed up by the goal-mouth scramble. That desire not to concede goals, you never lose that. And if you're getting that drilled into you from a young age, and the older heads are helping you, I just think it's so important still in football, team spirit and things like that. It gets underrated. I know the game's moved on. I mean, you had the wee ding-dong call and the old WhatsApp about technique and all that. I still think, I know it's different football we're talking about when we were discussing that, but I just think the Celtic team's showing that for all their technical ability, and when they've got the ball, we've seen in the first half what they can do. The popping it about, the triangular passes, the ball retention once they got to grips of the pitch in the game was outstanding. But the ugly side of the game is so important. And when they were under the cosh, they know how to turn it round. They know how to flip that and then go, right, now we play ugly. And they all seem to do it on the exact same page. It's brilliant. It really is.
I think that can only be personified by the instant in the 74th minute where Caitlin Hayes absolutely throws herself at the ball, and it looks as if for 1 minute she's knocked out cold when she clears it. She's down, the game gets stopped, there's a bounce ball, the ball goes wide, and then Hibs win a free kick, and Chloe Warrington does the exact same thing a couple of seconds later. These girls are putting their bodies on the line because they believe in the jersey, they believe in what it means to be a team, and it's really encouraging to see.
So we're all going for Chloe Warrington for player of the match then, at left back. What do you reckon?
Oh,
it was a defensive performance today, wasn't it?
Caitlin Hayes for me just shades it, but I think either are deserving winners, Lawrence. I wouldn't argue with you about it. To be fair, I think both are worthy winners of that award. I thought Hayes and Warrington were really outstanding warriors tonight. Just absolute warriors.
So we'll give it the official ACSOM player of the match goes to Chloe Warrington. So congratulations, Chloe, for that one. But yeah, a lot to be said about this second half. Wasn't a lot of chances for Celtic. Probably the only one coming from Lisa Robertson about the 82nd minute when she drags a shot wide of the post. But apart from that, it was all Hibs, and someone that really impressed me in that Hibs side was their number 11, who is Colette Kavanagh. She was the programme feature in tonight's Hibs match programme, which was free for everyone to access. You didn't need to be a season ticket holder to view that virtual programme. But she was really impressive, and you saw that towards the end. I think it was about 5 minutes to go. She almost tried to chip Johnson in the net, and it just went wide. She was a real standout in that Hibs side, and she was kind of personifying the Hibs demeanour in the second half. They really came out, they really had a go, they got in your face. There was a couple of times where we were sitting here going, I wonder if Celtic's going to concede, but it all seemed to come through her. And fair play to her. I think she'll go and have a really good career.
I thought the dink, the heart was in the mouth. It goes past the goalkeeper Johnston's left-hand post, and you could tell it was close. I mean, one of the sad things about the second half for me was the audio not working. I thought it was wonderful to see, a sellout crowd we had at the game tonight. Sellout.
Yep.
Over 500 people at full time watching it on Facebook. Don't tell me there's not an audience for this sport, because there is. Do you know what I mean? And it was actually a shame not to be able to hear the oohs and the ahs, and just to sort of feel the atmosphere a wee bit more, because it was nerve jangling enough watching it silently on a laptop, Lawrence. Do you know what I mean? But I just thought, you know, it would be nicer with the sound effects. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was good to hear the fans shouting. It wasn't it, you know, not piped in the first half, and then it disappeared on us. I don't know if that made it worse watching sometimes. You know, it's like makes it more nervous. It was because it was shaky. You know, we were expecting a bit of an easier time than Hibs gave us in the second half, didn't they? Because they did look to tire the end of that first half, but second half it was, you know, they definitely dominated, and it was shows this team's built on strong foundations at the back, isn't it?
I think the audio was probably cut just before halftime or just after halftime. There was some choice language coming from the coaches just before halftime, so I wonder if Hibs were scared to be kicked off Facebook, and that's maybe why they cut the audio. But as you said, it's great to see fans back. It's great just to hear that interaction coming from the side of the park. Fran Alonso getting really energised. The Hibs manager coming out and encouraging the players as well. And it's great to see that. To be honest, the game coming up on Sunday, we believe, is going to be on BBC Alba, and not Alba, Russell, BBC Alba. And if you get the PR right, this could have a really good crowd watching it.
I couldn't agree more. Absolutely, I certainly hope so. I mean, when you said that it's outside the tier restrictions as well, I mean, there's no excuse, you know, for a lot of people, you know, to be attending that. Absolutely. And I think as well, just when you were saying about the audio, just to flip it around, remember you used to listen to football matches on the radio, big ones as well. Oh, that was the worst.
Mate, commentators, it's just past the post. Then you watch the highlights and the boys hit the corner flag and stuff. Different game.
Someone's driving with a ball over the halfway line. I'm like, what is the need for that? You know what I mean? But I just when you said that, it reminded me of that. But back to your point, I think, you know, it's the last home game of the season. They have given Celtic fans something to be proud of this year. They really have already. I think there can be no argument about that. And as much as I'm late to the party, I am a full-fledged member now of the Celtic Women's Fan Club. Do you know what I mean? I'm all in. And, you know, I think it'd be brilliant if we could get a squad who's going along. Maybe, I don't know, get a wee video of the ACSOM team there or something. I don't see any reason why not. Or if not, go to Motherwell on the final day. That could be more fun.
6th of June.
6th of June, sunny day.
That one's already in Lawrence's diary. We will be covering the game here on A Celtic State of Mind, just as we have been doing tonight for Celtic's 1-0 victory over Hibs. I'm just going to bring some of the comments up. Strangelove the Doctor saying, I felt Hibs played percentage football, trying to hit areas and hit shots. Good against disorganised, unsteady defences, but falls apart against a calm, structured one like ours. Now, one of the things that said to me that we were kind of starting to feel the pressure a wee bit in that second half was the amount of long balls we ended up playing, because that's not the way that Celtic had been playing for the first sort of 50, 60 minutes. Once Hibs started to come on, it was clear the ball up. You've seen Mariah Lee was chasing the ball. Sarah Ewan's out on the left-hand side chasing the ball down. When the subs came on, you had Pollard chasing it down. That's what eventually led to picking up a yellow card. So, I mean, as you said, it's a sign of a good team to win ugly, and Celtic managed to do that tonight, Lawrence.
Oh, definitely. It's a good manager knows when to change it. You know, he's not going to be stuck to just going, right, we're going to keep it in the deck all the time. He saw that it was turning against us, and he knew what had to happen. Pollard, you know, for 17, you know, in a few years' time, she's going to be some player. Ball, you know, she shields the ball well. She's got habit of turning at whoever's marking her. I think she's going to be one that's going to be leading the line for the next few years. She just needs bedded in there. But yeah, you know, winning ugly, it's 3 points. There's 2 games to go. All we need is a wee favour for Safeco in the final day against City, and we're back to Love Street, aren't we? We could be winning the league in the final day.
Amazing, mate. Amazing.
Facebook user coming in here to say, why not play Sunday's game at Celtic Park? Make it a quid entry for everyone. Televise it too on Celtic TV for us living overseas. Now, from that comment, I can tell you live overseas. Glasgow currently isn't allowed any fans in. That's why there was no fans at the Scottish Cup final the other day as well. Unless something changes between now and then, I think
There's no
Glasgow's
pitch.
still in Tier 3.
There's no pitch either.
There's no pitch.
Oh, there's no pitch either. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. There's no pitch.
And
The game's
It
going
got
to be
relayed
played.
last week.
The game's going to be played at K Park in East Kilbride. And keep an eye out on Celtic Women's Twitter to see if the tickets do go on sale. As I said, the tickets are reasonably cheap. I think for tonight's game for an adult was £7 and kids were £3. So it's really encouraging a lot of people to go along. I think they'll be able to hold 500 at K Park. So if the tickets do go on sale and you're interested, keep an eye out and certainly go along and back the girls. You're going to see
It's
something
going to be
along.
the column Kazim Richards of the day. Remember, he scored up at K Park. And listen, K Park, you don't always need to. There's a bit you can stand and watch from outside the ground as well. But it's.
But I think as well, mate. The Facebook commenter there is spot on with the ideology behind it, though. If it wasn't for the circumstances that mean it's impossible right now, I think it'd be great to see more incentives put out like that. Randomly going, big game this week, quid entry, come support the girls playing. Let's get as big a crowd as possible. Let's try and incentivize it sometimes. I'm not saying you can make it £1 every game or whatever. I don't know what the ins and outs of the overall costing is. But I certainly think, there's big occasions like this, which obviously, sadly, because of COVID times and there being no pitch, means that we can't do it. But wouldn't it be wonderful, if next season in a similar position and people who maybe work most Saturdays and Sundays, and can't go to a lot of the women's games or maybe only take an interest in it towards the end of next season. Big occasion like this comes up and it's free, not free, but like £1 entry, a token entry fee. And before you know it, they're bringing their family along and they're getting their kids involved in women's football from a young age. Yep. And, I just think, there's a lot to be taken from that. So I agree with these sentiment. If it's not practically possible, that's a shame.
Used to do the reserves when I was growing up, You could go and see them, the bigger game.
Yep.
You turn up at Barrowfield and then they tell you 5 minutes before kick-off, game's been moved, too many people. You had to sprint it up to Celtic Park to watch a game. But then Fergus, with the free travel, the first year of the season books, he brought it in, remember, it was like free travel, even if it was the reserves that were playing. You get free travel to Celtic Park from anywhere in the Strathclyde region. If anybody remembers the Strathclyde region, that's when defunct like some football teams, the Strathclyde region, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Aye.
Any excuse, Lawrence. Strange Love a Doctor coming back in to say I'm very happy with any victory for Celtic, onwards and upwards, and one game at a time, amigos. Well, there is 2 games left in this SWPL season. First up is Sunday against Forfar Farmington. It's a 2 p.m. kickoff. We'll be covering the game live here on A Celtic State of Mind. We'll be live 30 minutes before kickoff, at half-time, and 30 minutes afterwards. And finally, what is the date of the last game of the season, Lawrence? It's in your diary.
It's the 6th of June, mate. We're going to be in Motherwell. It could be an ASCOM party, depending on what Nicola says. Who knows? That could be the night out. It could all be pitch side, hopefully, if we're allowed in. And celebrating like love.
He's speaking my language, by the way. If that doesn't get you excited, nothing will. Imagine that.
All the Fran Blazers, like Russell.
Aye, I like it. And I just think, the ACSOM squad together for the first time, and it could be potentially, and we're not getting too ahead of ourselves. It's a big game to come against Forfar and that, but, imagine if it is still in the balance, which I think it will be, and there is that fighting chance of doing it. The worst that could happen is we probably finish second. We're celebrating Champions League football. But what an excuse to get the troops together. I tell you, who's the man for a bus to get us there?
Well, you're driving the Fran Alonso bus, mate, which is weird because Colin started the Fran Alonso bus way back in October when he was suggesting him for the men's team manager.
I know.
Funny how things can come along. Well, just like coming along, it looks like Paul John Dykes has been watching us. Captain Paul's been watching us tonight. Vital result tonight. Great to see an ACSOM treble with no PJD. It tells me his wig's in for the wash tonight. You and boy Martin, hail. Great to see the girls doing us proud. Donny Boy 67, what's the situation regarding Champions League? Well, funny you ask, the Champions League is in Celtic's own hands now. They win their next 2 games, they are guaranteed Champions League football next season. Now, there's a point coming up here from Gillian Gallagher that says, we have 1 game with our season book. Now, imagine that game was a Champions League game next season. Now, they did say it was an SWPL game, but just be nice to us and give us that Champions League. The girls coming out under the Champions League music, which I believe they have their own music, which is...
Is it not Zadok the Priest? Is it something different?
It's something different. They've got their own logo as well, but I like the nostalgia of the original anthem, but having a big crowd, because looking at the draw that they could... Exactly, but looking at the draw that they could get, there are some massive sides in that draw, and just having a decent crowd backing them in that could be so important, Russell.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think Celtic need to be really innovative, because there is no excuse to not be trying to draw in crowds. This is extra revenue for the football club, remember, at the end of the day. They can get reinvested in this women's team. They're already, and we're not counting our chickens before they're hatched, but, well, I probably am a wee bit, but that's just because I'm nuts, I'm a positive person, but this is ahead of schedule if they make that Champions League. Believe me, this is ahead of schedule. This is extra revenue. Now, how do you capitalise on that? How do you make it grow? See, for once, let Celtic, when they're ahead at something, build from a position of strength. You get Champions League, you start cutting corners, finding ways you can get as many fans on that ground as possible. And if that means not, just hoping that people pay a higher price because it's an elite tournament, why not move the goalposts a bit and try and go, do you know what? If you come in, it's going to be half-price tickets for our first ever Champions League game. Get folk a taste for it, and they want to come back. I think you could be looking, if we're in the Champions League group stage, for example, and you're playing a Barcelona, I think you're looking at thousands. I'm serious. I think
could we do
catch fire.
10s, 15, 20,000?
I think it's so possible.
See if we build this game up properly. Market it.
You talk about it all the time, Lawrence. The marketing at the club at times is just, it's baffling, and I really think right now this is the one they've got away with the women's football side of it, because we are doing so well. We're doing brilliant. So learn from your mistakes on the men's side of things and build from a position of strength. Market this properly, and you could have next season's Champions League campaign, like Lawrence says, maybe pushing 5 figures at Celtic Park. And I mean, just imagine that, for the girls especially. That's their dreams coming true so quickly after only just turning full time in the summer of 2020. Do you know what I mean?
And it would just show the kind of growth that the women's game's had over the last couple of years. To think that only a couple of years ago the Celtic team was still coming into existence, and now you're at a position where they're qualifying for the Champions League potentially, which is absolutely outstanding. I'm just going to bring this point up from Plixie Plock, saying this had banana skin written all over it. Well done, girls. Absolutely. Hibs are a very good side, and they showed that in the second half tonight, but Celtic held on for the 3 points.
Colin, just on that, mate. So, did Glasgow finish 3-1, or did they extend it further?
I think it was 4, mate.
So that now means your goal difference you're looking at now is up to the 11 mark. Eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're looking at, the Forfar game. It's difficult because you don't want to go. There's going to be a concern that we can't afford to lose against Forfar, drop points either. That's got to be taken. But with their standing, where they are, the lack of mojo they've got to play for, where's the motivation for them? As Lawrence says, hearts are down, they're in no man's land down there, and they've been cuffed a few times. I think we go for the jugular against them. Go for the jugular. Take as many goals as you possibly can, and make it, score enough goals to put a big enough seed of doubt in the minds of Glasgow City when they go to play Rangers on the final week.
Russell, Colin, I don't know if you know, will Sarah's honeymoon be over? Will she be back?
That's the answer I was hoping that you were going to be able to give us, Lawrence, if I'm being honest. I mean, I think
that...
She is my favourite player, but unfortunately I don't know. I've not kept up to date with the dates of her honeymoon.
No, but you look at it, and it's a serious point to an extent. There's still a lot of other players that can come in and strengthen that team. We saw Jacinta on the bench tonight as well. Didn't actually come on, maybe been rested for the weekend. Definitely an attacking option against Forfar. I mean, we do need to go out and score quite a few goals in the game at the weekend to have any chance of getting in this title race after that tonight. But let's take it one game at a time, gents. It's a 3 points in the bag, a very hard-fought win. I've been delighted tonight to be joined by Russell Boyce and Lawrence Connolly. I will be back on Sunday covering the game against Forfar as well. Hopefully, if some of you get to the game, let us know. Send your pictures in. Join us, obviously, on YouTube. We will be live 30 minutes before the game at half-time and at full-time as well. The Bulletin is back tomorrow. It is the Thursday show, which means Declan McConville and Paul John Mason will be joined by John Paul Dykes. But once again, thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight on A Celtic State of Mind. Lads, any final words? Since
You've got the names the wrong way around.
Listen,
I like that.
Final words, go girls. It's 3 points, 2 games to go. City are going to slip up. It's going to be Love Street 86 all over again on June 6.
How can you say anything else? Apart from that, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night and we'll see you next time.